So, first of all, you may like to know that it is a tradition in Buddhist countries that when monks give Dhamma teaching, the lay people mm, they do not hug both knees. So you can hug one, but not both. Um, Monks are actually prohibited to teach the Buddha's teachings to someone who's hugging both knees. So that's a good cultural knowledge for you. Then now, why do the people remove their earrings and their necklaces? What's going on? They're not going to give me anything of that. I would not accept it anyway. But they're removing their jewelries because they're going to take very special precepts. They will take their jewelries back tomorrow morning, no worries. They will keep their jewelries in their bags and things like that, and they will continue wearing them from tomorrow, possibly until the end of their lives. That's perfectly fine. But now they're going to take the so-called 8 precepts. 8 precepts is an higher level ethics. In Buddhism, you've probably heard of 5 precepts. Have you heard of 5 precepts? Yeah. No killing, no stealing, no adultery or cheating on one's wife or husband. But it's not just cheating, it's also that a person who's not married would not have sex with someone else who's married with someone else. Okay, so we call it adultery, so no adultery. And then no telling lies and no drinking alcohol, no taking drugs. So these are 5 precepts. That's like the basics that lay people in Buddhism should follow 24 hours a day until the end of their lives, regardless whatever are the reasons or no reasons, must follow. Okay, no way to break. So this is unconditional 5 precepts. Always must be followed. Wherever they are, whatever is happening, 5 precepts is of utmost importance. Now the people have the custom of taking 8 precepts during special days. Special days are the full moon day, new moon day, the 8th day after the full moon day, and the 8th day after the new moon day. Now, the full moon days and new moon days and so on, they are determined by the astrologers of each Buddhist country. So they are different. And interestingly, the astrologers of the Buddhist countries somehow get it always different than the astronomers of the Western countries. So they're different dates. So Burmese have a different full moon day. Thais and Sinhalese, they have the same. They have a different full moon day. And astronomers, American, European astronomers, they also have a different full moon day. Okay. They're just totally different, yeah. Not like very different, but usually like 1-2 days different. So today you get Burmese, tomorrow there will be Thai, and I think the day after tomorrow or the other day, there will be the astronomers' full moon day. So, and it's a full moon day, right? Dine lapi na? Yes. So the Burmese will of course follow their full moon day, Thais will follow their full moon day, and on the real full moon day, nobody cares. So what would be amazing if people start to follow the astronomers' full moon day, because that's the real one, that's the true one, because the astronomers, they count when the moon is really the fullest. Okay, so then you are 100% sure, because the astronomers today in the West can see the moon the best. Okay, for the Burmese, it's not like that. Thais also, I think it's because they need a calendar, and the system of their making calendar is not as exact as the astronomers. So when you make the calculations, then the calculations should be working for, let's say, 10 years or 50 years into the future. But the Asian astronomers, they have old systems that are like 2,000 or 1,500 years old. So of course they cannot be so accurate in the long run. It can be accurate probably for one day or for 1 month, but not too far into the future. So that's why we get so wrong and so different. However, good news is that the Buddha actually did not specify exactly that these rules have to be followed on those days. It's that the lay people decided to follow them on those days. So even though it's wrong, it's not the real full moon day, it doesn't matter. If the people decide to follow it on those days, it's fine. You decide to follow it on Mondays, perfectly fine. Decide to follow it on Wednesdays, no problem. Okay? Therefore, I also would like to suggest that some of you, when you're at home, rather than in these religious meetings, which are a little bit complicated for this purpose, you can follow your 8 precepts on Sundays. Because Sundays are generally understood as a religious, a religious day. So and it's very easy. You don't have to count anything. You don't need a Burmese calendar for that. Sunday is Sunday all around the world. And therefore, all of the lay people would be following 8 precepts on Sunday, which would be, I think, quite encouraging. So you do not happen to be segregated like this. So you're Burmese, you follow your full moon day, Thais follow something else, and so it's not so comfortable. So Sundays, I think, would be a pretty good start to unify, the Buddhist community, and it's still perfectly according to all the Buddhist scriptures. But anyway, the people love the full moon day, so I think it will not be successful. Now, what's going on? So they're going to take 8 precepts, and 8 precepts is much stricter and much more complicated than the general 5 rules. So 8 precepts change the third rule from no adultery into total abstinence from all sexual activity. And then there are 3 more rules. Namely, first one is not eating after noon. So we are already past the noon, and it lasts until the dawn of the next day. So until the dawn of the next day, which is about 6 a.m., according to the astronomers, according to the Burmese, it would be the Burmese a little bit different time, much earlier than the astronomers one. But doesn't matter. So until 6 a.m., you're pretty sure. If you start to eat from 6 a.m., you're no problem. Okay, but until 6 a.m., you're actually not supposed to eat anything. You can drink water. You can drink fresh fruit juice if it is filtered and there was no heating in the process. No pulp, okay, and no heating in the process. So then that is also fine. But otherwise, you're not supposed to eat anything until the dawn of the next day. So it's a kind of like fasting, but you would be fasting only from noon until the dawn of the next day. So you eat only in the morning. Then the next rule has 2 parts. It's a long rule, and it consists of avoiding entertainment and avoiding self-embellishment. So avoiding entertainment means that you would not dance, not sing, not listen to music, not watch funny performances. So that's the entertainment. So no. Instead of the entertainment, you can learn English language or French language or Spanish or whatever you want. Ideally, you would, of course, meditate or you would read about the Buddha's teachings. But if you do anything else, let's say you will be cleaning the house, so I cannot watch Netflix and I cannot watch TV and I can listen to music. So what am I going to do? Okay, you can read about Buddhism, you can learn languages, you can read books, you can read any books, it should be fine. It's just that no music and no movies. That's the first part of the 7th rule. The second part is no self-embellishment, and that's why the people were removing their jewelries. So you are not supposed to wear earrings and finger rings and necklaces and piercing and anything else, that is on the body that embellishes the body. You're not supposed to wear any flowers, any ointments, any perfumes. If you already applied some perfumes, well, that's the way it is. But at least you don't apply any new perfume. Okay. So and also no garlands, but nobody is here wearing garlands here. So this is the seventh rule. It has two parts: no entertainment, no self-embellishment. And then there is the eighth rule. The eighth rule is not using luxurious beds. So luxurious bed is something that's high and large. All right. So high and large beds would not be used as it is a luxurious furniture, and it it inspires for laziness. So either the people sleep right on the floor, or they sleep on a mat, or they sleep on a low bed. So this is the eighth rule. So these are the eight rules. Again, I will summarize: no killing, no stealing, no sexual activity, no telling lies, no drinking alcohol or taking drugs, no eating from noon until the dawn of the next day, no entertainment, no self-embellishment, and finally, no using large and high beds. So that's just one part. Now there's a second part to this, and that is that we have a problem. Because these eight precepts should be followed from the dawn until the dawn. But we have missed it. Now it's afternoon. It's almost evening, right? It's 5 p.m. So what shall we do about that? So when you have missed it, for whatever reason, usually it will be because you didn't know it, then you still can come in the evening to a monastery or to see a monk. You can take your eight precepts. You can actually take them yourself, but that's traditionally not common. Usually you would take eight precepts from a monk, as in the way we are going to do it, but you can actually take them yourself by saying, I will follow eight precepts. Done. You took your eight precepts, then just follow them. Okay? But you would take eight precepts from a monk because that's inspirational, because the monk follows over 90 billion rules. The monk never touches money, never eats dinner, never tells lies. He follows all of the eight rules plus many, 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 many other things. And because the monk is following so many rules and follows them perfectly, and he never breaks them intentionally, unintentionally can, but not intentionally, then that's inspirational. Because you think like, oh, this monk is following over 91 billion rules. I'm supposed to follow just 8. So that's not so bad. Let me try. Okay? So, if it happens that you take your 8 precepts late, then there is the so-called half 8 precepts. It's not half because you would take 4 out of the 8, not at all. But it's half because you followed only half of the day. It's no more from dawn to dawn, but it's from afternoon to dawn. So in that case, because it's a half Uposatha day, then it's a little bit more critical. Because you're congesting this virtue into half of the day. And therefore, you would want to follow it more strictly than if you were following it from the morning. Because you probably had your lunch, maybe you already had some snack afternoon before these 5 p.m. Maybe you didn't, that's no problem. And maybe you already listened to some music, maybe you did a little bit of singing. I don't know. And some of the people here, they were wearing, some of their jewelry until now. So they did not follow the rules until the 5 p.m., but they're now ready to follow it until tomorrow. So they are congesting the virtue. That means they will be a little bit stricter. All right? So stricter would be, for example, you're allowed to take fresh juice, but you would actually decide, okay, you know what, I'm not going to take my fresh juice. Okay, until the dawn tomorrow. That means until 6 a.m. At 6 a.m., can eat, can drink whatever you want, no problem. Ideally, you eat, drink something that's healthy, but no more rule about eating from 6 a.m. tomorrow. So that's the point, that the people are now going to take their half 8 precepts, or half day 8 precepts. We call these days, these 4 days, the full moon days, 2 full moon days, no, sorry, 1 full moon day, 1 new moon day, and 2 8 days after. So full moon day, 8 days after full moon day, new moon day, 8 days after new moon day. Like this, every month is a special day. It's called Uposatha. Uposatha. It's like a kind of like the day of blessings, or the holy day. So during this Uposatha, in the Buddha's time, people would usually go to a monastery, they would take their 8 precepts, and they would listen to the Dhamma, they would meditate. Today, people might not be free on those days, they may have their job and things, but the surprise for many people is that it is actually possible to follow 8 precepts even when they go and have their job, when they have their duties, when they have their families and things. It's actually possible to follow the 8 precepts. It is perfectly fine for you all to cook the dinner tonight. The only point is that you just don't eat it. But you can cook it as much as you want. You cannot taste it. That's a little problem. A good chef always tastes the meal. You cannot taste it, but you can ask someone else to come and taste it for you. Okay, to find out whether that's the right taste. But otherwise, you cannot eat it at all. All right. You can drink as much. You can cook as much as you want. You can prepare as much food as you want, but you cannot taste it. You cannot eat it. So if you have some families, some duties, you can completely fulfill them without breaking the 8 precepts. It's absolutely possible. And when I was a layperson, I'm talking out of my experience. When I was a layperson, I became a monk by the time I was 20, and I started to learn and understand more of the Buddhist way when I was 18. So for about 2 years, I was a layperson, and I followed the 8 precepts for about 8 months continuously. And I went to school, and I went to job, and I had no monk to give me 8 precepts. Zero. Nobody gave me the 8 precepts. But I followed them very, very strictly. So nobody can say that I didn't follow them, because I did follow them. So this is something that usually lay people don't know. They think they must go to monastery and follow precepts there. No, it's not true. And they think that if they cook, they break the precepts. No, you don't break any precept if you cook. You break it only when you eat. All right. It is Vikala Bhojana, not Vikala Pachana. Pasana, in Burmese pronunciation, Vikala Pasana would be cooking in the wrong time. No, no such rule. No. Vikala Bhojana. Okay, means eating in the wrong time. So you are now refraining from eating in the wrong time. No problem with cooking. Okay, so now we are going to do this event when I will be inviting people to repeat after me. They will be repeating after me their request that I give them the 8 precepts. So I need to make sure that the people want to follow the precepts. It should never happen that a monk forces anyone to follow precepts. All right? Because then the people will maybe take the precepts, but then they will run away and never show up again. Okay. So the system is that the people request, very humbly, that the monk gives them the so-called 3 refuges and the precepts, be it 5 precepts, 8 precepts. Today we will be doing the 8 precepts. So first I say what I say, you say, or repeat after me. and it's all in the Pali language. And they will be repeating, yes, Venerable. They will be replying, yes, Venerable Sir, saying, Ama Bhante. You have already heard that? Have you ever seen it before? Yes, you did. So then they will be repeating after me the long request, which means, Venerable Sir, out of your compassion, give us the 3 refuges, the 8 precepts, by us repeating after you. And then they will be reciting, paying respect to the Buddha, and then they will be taking the 3 refuges, reminding themselves that the Buddha's teachings Dhamma, and the community of monks, Sangha, are the ultimate source of their safety and peace and success, not only in this life, and also in the next life, and also for the eternal, for the ultimate peace of Nibbana. Because the Buddha gives advice how to achieve Nibbana, but he also gives advice how to be successful now, in this life. In your job, in your marriage, with your children, the Buddha provides that advice very much in detail. It's just that some of it is not enough famous, so people just don't know it. That's why you have the monks. So you ask them, oh, Venerable Sir, I want to be happy with my children. What should I do? So the monk will say, okay, so the Buddha said this and that. And the Buddha also provides advice how to be happy in the next life, so how to be born in heaven, or at least as a human. So the Buddha provides some instructions, for example, following the precepts. And then the Buddha provides advice how to achieve the ultimate peace, how to achieve Nibbana, how to achieve freedom from all rebirth, from all birth, old age, illness, and death. So all these 3 benefits come from the Buddha's teachings. Success, happiness, health, fulfilled wishes in this life, success, happiness, health, fulfilled wishes in the next life, and also the ultimate peace of Nibbana. So that's why the people are taking the refuge in the Buddha's teachings, Dhamma, community of monks, Sangha. And then they take the 8 precepts. All right, so I think we can start. I think the lay people in Myanmar, they also like to ask for forgiveness from the Buddha, from Dhamma, from Sangha, if they have done something that was disrespectful. And that is possible to forgive. It is not possible to forgive killing, stealing, adultery, telling lies, drinking alcohol. It's not possible to forgive. The person just must not do it again. They can inform their good friend and say, oh, dear good friend, I have killed a mosquito, or I told a lie, or I had sexual intercourse with my friend's wife, or something like that. And then the friend will have to say, are you aware that it's wrong? And then the offender will say, yes, I'm aware, it was absolutely wrong. And so the friend will say, will you be careful next time? And so the offender will say, yes, I will be careful next time. So this way, in the community, the lay people, can support each other in following the rules. But that's all, because whatever the offender did wrong will bring him bad consequences, all right, and pretty dire. So we don't break these rules. They are very important. However, if people did something disrespectful towards the Buddha, or the Buddha's teachings Dhamma, or the community of monks Sangha, for example, they made a joke, or they unintentionally hit the Buddha, or touched the Buddha or a monk in some disrespectful way, well, then it is actually possible to ask for forgiveness, and that asking for forgiveness itself makes it forgiven, and there is no consequence whatsoever. Okay? Is it clear the difference between disrespect and breaking the rules? Okay? The disrespect is something when you disrespect, but it's not related to the 5 rules. So it is possible to ask for forgiveness, and it is totally forgiven. It's totally gone. The Buddha doesn't have to forgive. The monks also don't have to forgive. The Dhamma doesn't have to forgive. That you're asking for forgiveness itself is the forgiving. So it's pretty fast. No need to wait for reply or something like that. So the Burmese people like to use this opportunity. You will not find this in Sri Lanka or Thailand. No, nobody does this. Only the Burmese. Have you ever heard it? Ogata, ogata. Have you ever heard it? No? Okay, so now you will hear it.